Hello again, everybody. It's Tom Logan, Bowtie Legal, Doylestown, Pennsylvania's favorite criminal lawyer. Wearing a pink tie today. No making fun. It's a brand new tie, so I hope you like it. Today we are talking about sentencing guidelines, part 2, offense gravity score. And this is probably the easiest part of the sentencing calculation. Again, remember, sentencing guidelines take into account two things. One is offense gravity score. The second is a person's prior criminal history or prior record score. So the offense gravity score is a number, and under the 8th edition sentencing guidelines, which took effect for crimes that happened on or after January 1st, 2024, on those guidelines, we have offense gravity scores that are given numbers from 1 to 30. And a 30 is bad. That's really bad. That's like one of the worst crimes you commit, like rape. Bad. It's bad. You don't want to be there. The lowest number is for first offense, DUIs, disorderly conducts, pretty small stuff. And there's a lot of difference between a 1 and a 30, as you can imagine. And in fact, there's a lot of difference just in what particular charge you have as to what number is assigned by the government. What do I mean by that? So I have here the printout of the 8th edition offense gravity score table. It is 50 pages, and that's a lot. I even double spaced, it's a lot. But one of the most common ways to, or the easiest way for me to illustrate the difference in offense gravity scores for particular crimes is by taking a look at one specific crime, which is one that we see a lot, and that is carrying a firearm without a license. That is in violation of Section 6106 of the Uniform Firearms Act. You probably don't need to know that. But what you should know, and what any competent lawyer should know, is that there is a difference between the way that the government treats a person who's carrying a gun and the gun is loaded versus a person who is carrying a gun without a license and the gun is not loaded. For a person carrying a gun without a license and it's loaded, the offense gravity score is a 13. If, however, the gun is unloaded, the offense gravity score becomes a 10. And you may say to yourself, Tom Logan, why does that matter? Well, it matters because when you look then at the sentencing matrix for the 8th edition, which I have here, and which I will hopefully overlay in this video, the difference between a 13 and a 10 for a person with no prior criminal history is significant. If you were at a 13, and even if you have no prior trouble, you've never had a conviction at all, the recommended sentencing guidelines for you are 12 to 18 months of incarceration. That is a state prison sentence, and that's no good. However, if it is a 10, the sentencing guidelines recommend 5 to 8 months, and that can be restrictive conditions. That means house arrest. So you could go to state prison, or you could get house arrest. Well, you may say to yourself, or you may say to me, Tom Logan, when I got pulled over, I had a gun and it was loaded. Am I just completely screwed? The answer is no, because if you have a competent, intelligent lawyer, they're going to know when you get your case and when you bring your case to that competent, intelligent lawyer, such as me, for example, I'm going to know the difference right away because I've been doing this long enough to know that the guidelines make such a distinction. And one of the things that you can ask a DA when you're negotiating a case, or one of the things that you can do when you're talking to the police about a case, is to say, can we treat this one even though the gun is loaded? For sentencing purposes, can we treat it as if the gun is not loaded? And as you can see, it makes a massive difference by way of an outcome in a particular person's case. That's just an example. This 50-page document that I have is chock full of differences that the guidelines make between a simple assault where a person gets hurt versus where they don't, robbery of a motor vehicle where there's serious bodily injury caused versus not. Lots and lots and lots of variation. And a competent, good lawyer will know from the beginning that there's going to be lots of variation in an offense gravity score, and should have that in mind from the very beginning of your case, the very beginning, the first time they talk to you. And they should have in mind an idea. Obviously, we want to work all aspects of the case, but as a last resort, you can always try to negotiate an offense gravity score. I know this is a long video. Hopefully it was a little bit charming, and we'll do some overlays to make it less boring, but it is a very important aspect of criminal practice in Pennsylvania. It's something that any good lawyer should know. It's something that every good lawyer should work hard on and to know about, and also when they're working for you, to work hard to get the lowest possible number, which means working on an offense gravity score from the get-go.